Hello! I'm starting a new video series about organizing sewing supplies, and this video is all about sewing patterns. I'll show you a couple of different ways to organize them, and since I've been using these methods for 2 years now, I know they work for me, so I hope they work for you as well. The first one, rolling, is the one I use the most. I'll take one apart to show you how it looks like. Rolling prevents wrinkles, and that's why I like to use this method. There is no need to iron the pattern, you only need some weights to keep the pieces flat. There is no need to buy special weights, of course. Use jars, lids, containers, anything you have around the house, or even you can use fabric scraps and old pillows to make them yourself. Since I use baking paper to trace patterns, it doesn't wrinkle as much as tissue paper, but I did try to fold the tissue paper and it didn't turn out so well. The same goes with baking paper, therefore I definitely recommend rolling it instead. So how do you roll them properly? Lay your pieces completely flat on a table. I like to put huge pieces on the bottom of the pile and the small ones on top. That way they'll be on the inside of the roll and the outside will be completely smooth. If you do it the other way around, small pieces for a waistband or facing, for example, can rip, stick out or get lost. Once you've finished rolling, you can also manipulate its shape, but be gentle. This is still paper we're working with, so it does rip easily. Another thing that is crucial is adding information about the pattern. I'm always left with a lot of small scraps after tracing patterns, and this is a perfect way of reusing them. I always write down where I got the pattern from. It's usually from a magazine, so I include the issue date, the pattern number, name or description, and it's useful to also add a technical drawing or even print small photos of the finished garment. If you don't want to waste printer ink like me, I simply describe the fabric I use for that garment. Here's an example. This is a wrap blouse that I made using black fabric with red flowers, so I just write that down below the pattern details on the paper piece wrapped around the roll to keep it closed, so I know exactly what's inside. Another idea is using leftover plastic containers. I have a whole bunch of these. These are from packages of pastry sheets that I often buy. And I'm sure you can find similar things, especially in the kitchen. Spaghetti boxes, for example, and if you don't like how they look, you can paint them or turn them inside out if possible. Most patterns fit perfectly inside. There are some that are quite huge, so I put a post-it note across the container to keep the pattern from falling out. These are stackable, which saves space, and because they are see-through, it also saves some time when you're searching for a specific pattern. You can put a label on the front and organize them by month or year or however you want to. Another idea is using toilet paper rolls or just any paper rolls, for example kitchen paper rolls. Those are extremely sturdy and longer than toilet paper ones, so they are perfect for bigger pattern pieces. I use them instead of wrapping paper around the roll, and you can write and draw on them with anything from pens to markers. As I use this method for huge garments, these rolls don't always fit into the plastic containers, so I put them into a wrapping paper storage box. You can just buy a cheaper garbage bin and use it without a lid. The last tip I'd like to share regarding this rolling method is to use scrap post-it notes. It sounds weird, but in a minute it will make sense, I promise. It's actually better than using a piece of paper and some tape, because tapes have stronger adhesives on them than post-its, and I use 2 to 3 pieces for one roll. Take one piece with the adhesive on the top and facing away from you. Take the other piece and place the side that's not sticky on the roll, so the bottom. We'll use the sticky side to stick another post-it. And there you go. The adhesive on the last post-it allows it to close the ring. With post-its, you can control the thickness of the roll, and that's why I like it. Plus, it opens and closes easily. It's much better than using regular tapes because they sometimes rip the paper. Write down whatever info you need and that's it. I did that before just so you could distinguish the paper since they look the same, but I always write on it afterwards because you never know how much writing space you'll have until you wrap it around the roll. As for bigger pattern pieces, you can buy a huge paper folder. This one is A3 size, but A2 is even better. For reference, standard printer paper is A4, and despite the bigger number, it's actually smaller than the previously mentioned sizes. You can cut off the flaps if they bother you or you see that they leave marks on the pattern, but I never found it necessary. This one also has an elastic band, so it's always kept nicely closed. These folders are thin, so they fit everywhere, for example under the bed, between pieces of furniture, on the shelves. They are a great space saver. The last method is definitely my favorite one, but unless you have a huge wardrobe or a special rack, it's not very handy, so I don't use it that much. Use hangers with clips and make sure to catch all the smaller pieces with the clips. They should go right under the clip or between two bigger layers of paper. I like to put the wider side on the top where the clips are and just let it hang. This is of course the best option for keeping any wrinkles out, especially if you use thin papers or tissue paper for tracing. If you decide to put it in your wardrobe, it's better to keep it on one side so it wouldn't get mixed up with your clothes. It could get damaged or even lost, or you could just forget about them like I did. So here is a quick overview. I hope you found these ideas helpful. I tried out all of these methods and they all work very well over a long period of time. To find out first when the next video about organizing sewing supplies comes out, subscribe, and until then, happy sewing!